The room was full of noise, but Hannah heard none of it. Families moved around her. Prayers were spoken out loud. Sacrifices were offered as they had been year after year. It looked like worship. It sounded like celebration.
For years she had carried the kind of pain that does not bleed on the outside. The kind that smiles in public, but breaks in private. In her world, motherhood was more than a blessing. It was identity, dignity, legacy. And she had none of it. No child, no tiny hands reaching for her, no voice calling her mother, only silence. Her husband loved her deeply. He tried to comfort her. He would say,
"Am I not better to you than 10 sons?"
He meant it. But even sincere love cannot always fill an empty room. Some longings are too deep for human reassurance. And then there was Peninnah, the other wife. She had children, plural. And she made sure Hannah never forgot it.
Every year when they traveled to worship, Peninnah's words would quietly wound her, sometimes openly, sometimes subtly, but always effectively. Yet the journey pressed on, and so did Hannah.
The pain followed Hannah like a shadow that refused to lift, until one particular year, when something inside her shifted.
They arrived in Shiloh to worship, as they always did. The rituals continued. The traditions were observed. But Hannah could not eat. She could not pretend everything was fine.
She could not sit through another year carrying the same unanswered prayer. The weight had grown too heavy. So she stepped away from the noise. She walked into the sanctuary, and for the first time, she stopped trying to hold herself together. There were no dramatic announcements, no performance, no polished religious words. She knelt down, and the tears came freely. Her lips moved, but no sound escaped. It was not a prayer meant to impress anyone. It was raw. It was desperate. It was honest. "Oh Lord Almighty," she cried silently in her heart, "if you will only look on my misery and remember me, if you give me a son, I will give him back to you." That was not manipulation. That was surrender. Nearby stood Eli, the priest. He watched her closely. He saw her trembling lips and her silent tears, and he misunderstood. He assumed she was drunk. "How long will you stay drunk?" he asked sharply. Imagine that, pouring out your deepest pain and being misjudged for it. But Hannah did not respond with anger. She looked up and said, "Not so, my lord. I am deeply troubled. I was pouring out my soul to the Lord." Pouring out my soul. Those words hold power, because heaven does not respond to performance. Heaven responds to surrender. Eli's tone softened. "Go in peace," he said. "May the God of Israel grant you what you have asked." Nothing changed immediately. There was no visible miracle, no thunder from the sky, no instant sign, but something invisible shifted. The Bible says her face was no longer downcast. She walked away lighter, not because she had the answer, but because she had released the burden. Months passed. Then one day, the silence in her womb broke. She conceived. She gave birth to a son and named him Samuel, which means asked of God. But here is where the story deepens. When Samuel was old enough, Hannah kept her promise. She brought him back to the house of the Lord, the same place where she once wept in desperation, and she gave him to God. Think about that. She held the miracle she prayed for. She loved the answer she waited years to receive, and then she released him. That is not weak faith. That is unshakable trust. From her private pain came a prophet who would shape a nation. Samuel would go on to anoint kings and guide Israel's future, but it all began with one woman, alone in a room, refusing to let bitterness silence her belief. Silence filled the room as Hannah prayed, but heaven was not silent. God heard what no one else understood. God saw what others misjudged. God responded to a prayer whispered through tears. And that is why this story still travels across generations, because we all know what it feels like to wait, to hope, to be misunderstood, to carry a longing that seems unanswered. Hannah's story reminds us that the most powerful prayers are often the quietest ones. The room may feel silent, people may not understand, the answer may not come immediately, but heaven listens closely to surrendered hearts. And sometimes, the breakthrough that changes history begins with one silent prayer.